Hello, everyone. Are you guys excited for Doom Eternal? I know I sort of am. I always like to brace myself for the inevitable disappointments that the video game industry likes to throw our way. I try not to jump on the hype train, but Doom Eternal does look pretty promising. A lot of people are looking forward to Doom Eternal. People like Dean Takahashi. You guys know Dean Takahashi? A lot of you might not, but some of you might go, yeah, I know Dean Takahashi. He is the lead writer over at GamesBeat, at Adventure Beat. Yeah? You ever heard of them? Probably not. Dean Takahashi is what you might call a professional video game journalist. Before Modern Warfare came out, he wrote that article talking about how, it's too violent and it's frightening and it shouldn't even be made. Professional video game journalist. And a lot of people of you who do know his name only know his name because of, remember when Cuphead came out? Remember when Cuphead came out and that tutorial that he did, they made public and the whole internet laughed at him and it started the whole game journalists can't play video games thing again, right? Well, old Dean's back. Dean's back in town. Dean Takahashi is tackling Doom Eternal. And we're going to watch him. We're going to have a talk while we watch Dean Takahashi attempt to play Doom Eternal. I don't know why anybody would be worried. I mean, just because he can't tackle the Cuphead tutorial, that doesn't mean he can't play a big galaxy brain game like Doom, right? Now, Doom 2016 was very good. Very good, but it's not a particularly intellectual game, you know? It's not exactly a big galaxy brain puzzle-solving mystery box, you know? It doesn't take a huge... it doesn't take a genius to play and enjoy Doom 2016. It's not meant to be like a super intellectual video game. It's meant to be a fun, fast-paced, arcade-style shooter, arena shooter, with, great graphics, amazing gameplay, shooting monsters, blood, gore, rip, tear, all that good stuff. Love it. Good stuff. Love Doom 2016. And the multiplayer is great. For those of you who have Doom 2016 and haven't given the multiplayer a fair shake, maybe you should. I love it. I play it to this day. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Dean Takahashi. And we're here to talk about video game journalists. And video game reviewing things, right? Video game journalists reviewing things. So, let's say you're Bethesda, right? You're id Software, and you want people like Dean Takahashi to avoid your game like the plague. The last thing that you need is to have Dean Takahashi, professional video game player, right? Professional video game journalist, veteran of the video game industry. For 21 years, he's been covering games for 21 years. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind as you watch this playthrough that this is a video game journalist, veteran of the industry, been playing games for 21 years, right? If you're id Software, you want to keep this professional video game journalist far, far away from your video game because he's going to make it look like trash. He is going to make your game look like a dull slog, a boring chore. He is going to, through his insanely inept gameplay, make your video game look like poo. Let's say you're a guy who reviews video games for a living. Now, don't you think that if you are terrible at reviewing video games, that might impact the score that you give to the game? Don't you think that will show up in your review that you didn't grasp the mechanics fully? Maybe you thought they weren't balanced well. Maybe you thought they weren't intuitive. Maybe you thought that there was some problem with the game. Maybe you're going to grade that game negatively and give people the wrong impression because of your incredible stupidity and ineptitude with the video game. There's a reason why I don't review certain kinds of games. Right? There's a reason I don't review, I'd say fighting games, right? I have no interest in fighting games. I don't know anything about fighting games. They don't appeal to me. They're not my cup of tea. They're not my thing. And when I delve into a review of a strategy game, of which I don't know too much about the genre, right? I'll generally open up by saying, yeah, I don't know too much about this genre. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is all coming from the point of view, from the perspective of someone who isn't big into strategy games. A very layman, outsider kind of look inward. I want to be fair with people. And I want to be fair to the game. I don't want to cut it slack if it doesn't deserve it, but I want to be fair to it. And a lot of the times, if you're reviewing a game, what you might do is you might look at other people's reviews. You might say, all right, I've played through the game, I've played this many hours, I've delved into it for X amount of time, I feel like it's about that time where I can make my review. I can start getting my thoughts together, I can gather up all the notes I've been making, all my bullet points, and start discussing the merits and flaws of this video game. One thing, though, that I will do is I will read other people's reviews. I will start looking at other people's impressions and other people's thoughts, because I'm not too proud to understand that I might have missed something. I might have misunderstood a mechanic, or I might not have even in my notes thought to include talking about a particular mechanic. Maybe there's something about the game that I just didn't know, or I noticed it during the gameplay, but I didn't write it down. I didn't include it in my script. There is very, 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 very possibly something that somebody else said that I just missed, that I didn't think of. And I think that in order to be fair to the game, I should learn as much about the game as I can. But maybe more than anything, right? I don't want to review a video game if I'm terrible at it. If I'm terrible at a video game, I don't want to delve into it and think that I'm capable of really reviewing it. I don't want to say that I have what it takes to give this game a proper review. I will never review Dark Souls or Sekiro or games like that because I'm okay at them, I guess, but I don't really care for them. They're not my thing. I would probably be dismissive of it in a lot of ways. It doesn't interest me. I don't get anything from the games. I'm worried that perhaps any frustration I might get could color my perception of the game, and I don't think that maybe I could be as objective as I could. Dare I say objective as I could. So let's say you're Dean Takahashi, right? Try to imagine it. So imagine you're Dean Takahashi and you get invited or sent a copy or whatever. You get the chance to play Doom Eternal, hands-on, before the general populace gets to. You've got your lovely status as a professional video game journalist working at VentureBeat, veteran of the industry for 21 years. You get to play Doom Eternal, right? And this is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you give people. Not only is this what you do during the game, this is the segment that you decide to cut out and show the world. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to discover why. I'm trying to discover what. I'm trying to piece together what the strategy here is of VentureBeat. What is the strategy of Dean Takahashi? Not in the video game. There is nothing even closely resembling strategy in the actual video game. I'm talking about the strategy of making this a video on the internet and what you hope to gain from it. By the way, this was uploaded. This, in its full context, the full video is playing on the screen in front of me. This was uploaded in its entirety to the official VentureBeat YouTube page. It has since been deleted, but it was voluntarily uploaded. This was to their channel, this video that we're watching. I know I'm being repetitious, I just want that to sink in. They decided voluntarily to upload this video to their YouTube page. They decided to take it down. Somebody had a mirror. It will, when you type in Dean Takahashi Doom Eternal, it'll probably be the first thing that pops up. God bless you, sir, for saving that. In fact, who was it who did it? Ace1918, thank you so much. You're a credit to the internet. A scholar of archival and historic preservation. One would think that those who are journalists, one would think that those who are critics and reviewers, one would think that they have some level of specialty over the common person, right? And I don't mean this in an elitist way. I'm not saying you have to go to film school to review films. If anything, what I've noticed is that it taints your view of films and makes you worse at reviewing films. You don't have to go to video game college. You don't have to be an MLG pro player. You don't have to be some kind of industry professional. You don't have to do any of this stuff, right? You just have to be, let's just say you have to be competent at video games, right? I don't think that's unreasonable to say that you should be competent at video games to review them. That you should have some kind of skill in particular. So one would expect that video game journalists are particularly good at playing video games, right? One would expect that veterans of the industry, especially those who have been doing it for over 21 years, one would expect that video game journalists are very good at what they do. This is their job, after all, to review and play video games. One would expect that all the time that they sink into doing it would increase their level of skill. One would think. One would think that movie critics would not get things wrong about movies. We see this on EFAP all the time, our podcast. Y'all should watch it. Link in the description. In EFAP, we see this all the time. Professional film critics on YouTube. People who have gone to film school. People who have seen all the great movies, just making objectively wrong statements over and over about films. Just making blatant false statements about films. And it's us idiot plebeians that have to correct them. We didn't go to film school. We didn't work for a pro MLG video game team. And yet here we are. We're staring at this. We're staring at the professionals. Literally professionals. They get paid to do this, right? In a technical sense, they are actual professionals. It undermines our confidence in critics, is what it does. It undermines the normal person's ability to trust the field, right? One of the reasons that YouTuber, right, as a title, is very kind of lambasted, criticized, mocked, is because YouTubing is so vastly broad. It is everything from the worst of the worst to the best of the best. Video game journalism is the same way. When you see professional 21-year veteran of the industry, Dean Takahashi, jumping into lava pits and unable to kill enemies and unable to just fucking jump over the goddamn fire chain, Dean. Holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you retarded? When people see this, what do they think of, not just you personally, right? Like, I'm sure that, actually, I don't know if you're a nice guy. From what I've read, you're actually kind of a piece of shit. But you're incompetent, certainly, at playing video games, right? And this is your job. Think of all the people who are excellent at doing this, who aren't able to do their livings being professional. Say, see, there you go. Finally figured it out, and then he just walks in lava. Fuck it. If you are making video games, please, dear God, please. That's where his video ends, by the way. That's where his video just completely cuts off. That was the whole thing in its entirety. Anyway, if you are making video games, do not let Dean Takahashi, do not let VentureBeat, do not let these video game journalists who can't fucking play video games, do not let them anywhere near your game. They will make it look terrible. They will make you look like a bad video game designer because this fucking idiot, this imbecile, can't figure out the most basic of puzzles. No, I'm not even going to give it the credit of calling it a puzzle. It's a fire chain. You jump over it. It's like saying that it's a puzzle to jump over an obstacle using the jump button, which elevates your position over the ground beneath you. It's not a puzzle. I'm not going to give it the credit of calling it a puzzle because it's not a puzzle. Doom is not a puzzle game. Okay, it's not a puzzle game. I'm sure Dean would call it a puzzle game. Maybe he has. I'm sure he probably would. Because for him, jumping from one platform to the other is a puzzle. A puzzle that must be solved. A mystery that must be unboxed. One expects a level of professionalism from the professionals, right? And when we see this stuff posted, right, not only was it executed, right, not only was the gameplay done, it was posted publicly. They put this on their channel to show the world. At this point, I'm wondering, is it a joke? Is it a joke? Is this some way to get publicity? Is Dean stupid enough to think that any publicity is good publicity, even if it's overwhelmingly negative? Are they so desperate for clicks over at VentureBeat that they have to post this stuff? Their YouTube channel's basically dead. Is this what it's coming to? I don't think so. They deleted the video. If it was all about clicks for whatever reason, you think they would have kept it. Well, good job, VentureBeat. You made it back into the news. You did it. Good job, Dean. You showed the gamers what a professional video game journalist is capable of. Whether they're telling us that games are bad because you play as a straight white male, or that Animal Crossing is capitalist propaganda, or that Tomb Raider is colonialism, or that we can't, or that we're not even capable of making a jump over a chain, video game journalists never disappoint. This is why I watch particular YouTubers that I trust. This is why I listen to friends and get their opinions of things. This is why I do demos. This is why people are willing to pirate video games. People are willing to steal games to get a demo instead of listening to professional video game journalists. That's because their word is dirt. And their word is dirt. Well, I'd say dirt. Dirt has uses. Their word is worthless because of stuff like this that is posted so openly. Almost as if it's bragging. I wouldn't post it. There's a reason I only post the good clips for my YouTube videos. It's more entertaining for starters. It's more interesting to watch, but I don't want to come across as someone who's incompetent. I'm not hiding stuff, right? I'm not bad at these games that I show. I just show the highlights because they're more entertaining. To show what I'm capable of. To show that, yeah, I'm good at video games. Thanks for watching. Can't wait for Dean's next magnum opus. Can't wait for Doom Eternal. Everyone have a magical day.